Khabib, congratulations on your victory tonight, but as I'm sure you're aware, the story is really about what happened after the fight, unfortunately. Can you tell us in your words, what caused you to jump over the cage and to go after Conor's team?
Conor versus Khabib ended brutally. I think no one has expected such an ending to the fight of the two champions. Today I want to explain to you the real reason for the fight after the fight, why the whole situation got out of hand and why this can be traced back to the vastly different mindsets of these two fighters. Along the way I'll explain to you the decision making process of Khabib in that crucial moment before his devastating flying dragon kick and why every man has his breaking point. Conor McGregor is a genius marketing guy. He hypes up his fights to increase the pay-per-view earnings. He even sells his own freaking whiskey. Conor knows the best way to do that is to create controversy, to induce anger in his opponents and in the viewers. The mentality of Conor is basically all business. 15 minutes. Conor is great at creating emotion. Anger, for example, is a strong emotion which creates the urge to act. This makes us more willing to share the content. This increases the possible reach for Conor and therefore his pay-per-view earnings. But even in his opponent, Conor tries to put them off guard and open for counter attacks.
The movement I make will get an overreaction off of him because he's emotionally invested in it. There's too much in it for him. That's what I see the fight playing now. I feel him overreacting, overextending, and then being KO'd unconscious.
Yet this didn't work in Khabib. Part of it was probably the language barrier.
Most important is 6 October. Now he can talk whatever he want. He gonna talk, I know. And 6 October is most important. For me, it's most important 6 October. When cage closed, we're gonna watch.
Only after the fight did Khabib really show anger and short-term thinking. The reason is that winning a fight creates a testosterone surge in our body. Especially if it's against a great contestant, it makes you feel invincible. The moment Conor tapped out, Khabib's testosterone level shot through the roof and his risk tolerance therefore declined. That's the only reason I could explain to myself why someone would ever make a freaking dragon kick into a hostile group of trained martial artists. Genius, Khabib. The search of the win may explain the short-term behavior of Khabib, but the long-term explanation is more complex. The eagle has been raised in Dagestan, which is a rural, tough and family-centered area. In fact, Khabib told the reporters that he still spends a lot of time there.
I'm a little bit scared about this. I don't want to change. I want to be same Khabib, like before belt and after belt. And this is not about me, this is about all people around me.
This fighter puts a lot of value on discipline, integrity and respect. Yet Conor, purposely to sell more tickets, violated all of these three factors. In fact, right now I think Conor purposely attacked the boost of Khabib to create more buzz. This is absolutely inexplicable to Khabib, which I think isn't that fond of Conor's dark marketing purposes.
What about he talk about my religion, he talk about my country, he talk about my father. My father teach me, hey, you have to be always respectful. This is a respect sport, you know.
So this difference of the businessman versus the all-in, rural and family-centered fighter creates tension. The difference of the mentality of the two fighters can be explained by the actions after the fight. For Conor, which sees violence and threats as a way to create more business, for Khabib, violence is a way to discipline people and most likely restore his honor. This brings me to the next point, that why treat people how you want to be treated is deeply flawed. A football hooligan has different values than a Fortune 500 CEO. A family man has different interests than a tomcat in the sack. So you should always treat people how they want to be treated. If you're fighting a Conor McGregor, he will probably love you to create more buzz and insult everything that he stands for before the fight. If you're dealing with a Khabib, it's better to act more conservative before, during and after. But Khabib must have forgotten the next crucial rule. You cannot solve problems the same way that you've created them. Here's what Khabib's father said to the Brawl incident. Just by the reckless behavior of teaching Conor a lesson, Khabib in some shape or form turned into Conor. Remember when Conor also jumped over the cage to scare Aldo and create buzz and money regarding his future fight? This wasn't even that severe, as there was no physical conflict involved and his wife was basically nearby. In fact, after Conor's fights, there's no disrespect, because as said before, for Conor, it's all business. The way to teach people a lesson is to do it on moral grounds. A reckless brawl including your cousins and even your freaking translator is not the way to establish the fight sport and teach someone a lesson, at least in my opinion. The Khabib vs Conor brawl definitely created a lot of buzz and will make Conor, Khabib and Dylan a lot of money in the future. Yet it will also create controversy regarding the UFC and could get Dana White into trouble. We should all remember that problems cannot be solved the same way that they've been created. We should acknowledge that we're all different and therefore most likely want to be treated differently. Treat people how they want to be treated and you will never be the receiver of an insane flying dragon kick out of the octagon from an MMA champ.